The following excerpts are part of a diary I found while on vacation in a certain, almost tropical country. I found it lying next to a trash heap, with the people living there not even sparing it a second glance. And as I saw that it was written in English, I just had to take it home. There's no sign of the owner, neither a name nor address, so if anyone knows something, please contact me. Day 1, 14th of July. This will be my diary for this trip. It took us almost a whole year to finally find a way into this god-forsaken area. And boy, are we rearing to go. Officially, this part here is completely off limits to tourists, but Ben and I found the local guide who picked us up and led us past the checkpoints. Our destination? Mountain. Not the tallest one in the area, mind you, but definitely the most elusive one. Not just around here, but maybe the whole world. It was, well, is a holy mountain after all. The indigenous people here still think their god resides somewhere near its top, looking down at the world with disdain, which is why its peak is seemingly always covered in fog or clouds. A few decades ago, these people protested, then rioted in the streets of the capital, until the government finally relented and put a massive blockade around the whole mountain. Normally, at least in my experience, whenever something like this happens, certain companies jump at the chance to move into the cordoned-off area and start strip mining or whatever. But not here. Not that they didn't try, mind you. We've seen half a dozen backhoes and cars lying by the side of the road, completely destroyed. Landmines, our guide has told us, but he promised us they were only meant for the cars. I hope he's not fucking with us. We've already spent our budget for this and next year on this trip, and his bribe alone will set me back another 2 months. I don't even want to know how rich he is now, at least compared to the rest of the people here. Well, it's not like I begrudge him that. He seems friendly enough for now, speaks at least a few words of our language, and even helps us with our packs. The problem is, he tends to speed up every time we set off again, and only waits for us close by the next fork in the path, sitting on one of the trees smoking his own cigarettes. I don't know how he does that. We gave him the heavier backpack this afternoon, but the guy never even slowed down. He somehow dragged the pack up the tree as well, still grinning as we caught up to him half an hour later. Like he knew what we had tried to do and found it funny. Ben has started calling him Pablo, since we can't pronounce his real name for shit. And he found that one funny too. Only when he tries to say it, it sounds more like Pueblo, which is apparently a type of cigarette and fits even better. We had a few laughs about it before our friends started running in front again, dragging the heavy pack along and disappearing behind the next bend. Ben started looking exhausted at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but didn't utter a single word of complaint. We both knew what we were getting into, that climbing this mountain would be unlike anything we've ever done. Everything from the flight to the track here is off the charts exhausting. Pueblo guided us to a lake and made a fire for us before we even arrived, telling us to put down the other pack and either get out our tents or simply sleep on the ground like he will. Safe area, he told me, patting the soft ground close to the lake. I think he's right. I've been lying awake here, looking at the stars for hours before I remembered this diary. The view is breathtaking. All those galaxies up above look like they're so close. Just out of reach. Even though my whole body seems to be aching, I'm happy we made this trip. We should reach the foot of the mountain tomorrow by afternoon, according to our guide. Right now, it's nothing more than a dark behemoth off in the distance. I can't wait to take in the view from up there. It'll be life-changing. Day 2, 15th of July. We woke up at sunrise, and the first thing I saw was Pueblo standing hip-deep in the lake's water, completely nude, smoking one of his cigarettes while he watched the sun coming up. Not a sight I would recommend. He told us to eat something and pulled out a fish from the water as if it was nothing. Man, I'm sure someone could write a whole book about this guy. It would be quite funny, but definitely not meant for an underage audience. While Ben and I were still rolling up our sleeping bags, Pueblo had already started a fire and was grilling the fish. I've never seen one of them before, by the way. The fish bones were enormous and easy to pull out, while the meat tasted so fucking good. I tried asking Pueblo what those fish are called, but he simply shrugged his shoulder, then shook his head. No name, no need. That seems to be his answer for a lot of things around here. The farther we got, the less he was smiling and the shorter his sentences became. No need is his favorite by now. At first, before noon, he was still his old self, taking the heavy pack of his own volition, running ahead and waiting on the branches of a tree, rolling and smoking his cigarettes. Ben and I were cracking jokes, and he was waving at us whenever he saw us coming. It was when we made a short break at noon that his demeanor started changing, calling the spot we had reached a bad area while softly shaking his head. He didn't eat anything we offered him, instead sat at the edge of the path, keeping watch. Thinking about it now, he didn't even smoke a single cigarette back then. I'm pretty sure that was the point where he really changed. From then on, he sped up even more and started telling us to keep up with him. We couldn't, of course. The heat and the humidity made it feel like I was wading through molasses the whole day, and Ben didn't fare much better. We're both in good shape. We even ran a marathon together last year, but that now seems like child's play compared to this area here. At around 3 o'clock, Pueblo told us to never even set a single foot outside the path anymore, and to not touch anything growing out from between the trees. I watched him in secret during one of our short water breaks, and he was up ahead clearing the path of debris with a long stick. More landmines, I thought then, but now I'm not so sure anymore. We slogged on throughout the afternoon and into the evening, but as we told Pueblo that we needed another break, he got mad. Not here, he told me over and over again. Bad place. Very bad place. So we continued on, even though Ben and I were both completely covered in sweat and my left calf felt like it was starting to tear at every step. It took us until after sundown to finally reach the foot of the mountain, which now looks even darker, even more ominous staring up at it. Pueblo told us to sleep on the slope, though the ground beneath was blank stone, and to not roll down toward the trees. I'm writing in almost darkness right now, only illuminated by the soft light of my watch. Pueblo is sitting down, right at the bottom of the slope, staring into the woods we had come out of. Bad place is right. This feels strange. Even the stars above look dimmer now. At least, according to Pueblo, we'll have an easier time once we've climbed up a bit. Less bad place. He'll stand guard tonight, and will be leaving us tomorrow morning. I think I'll really miss him. Maybe, once we're back down, we'll be able to meet up with him again. Share some stories. That might be fun. It's time to sleep now. I need rest. My body feels heavy, and I'm sure tomorrow will be even more exhausting than today. Though we'll be on our own now, with no one setting our pace but ourselves. Day 3, 16th of July, noon. As promised, Pueblo left us after sunrise. He made sure to wake us fully and told us again what to look out for before handing me a small package and walking off into the woods once more. I now own my very own tin can of tobacco, including papers, and a note, handwritten by Pueblo. Good luck, it says. Ben almost couldn't stop laughing when I opened it, and I'm sure Pueblo was smiling as he heard the sound, if he was still in earshot. We started our climb in earnest a few minutes later, and I have to say, the view really is amazing. There is no one up here with us, no sign of tourists or the trash they normally drop everywhere they go. No loud cars or planes or anything. It kind of feels like we've traveled back in time. I love it. Ben has taken the lead, and I've been following him all morning, but we will switch it up as soon as we start walking again. At least he'll now have to carry the heavy pack, while I'll be looking for a safe route up. Right now, it's still child's play. There are no barefaced cliffs or crevices we have to traverse, only a slightly steep slope that seems completely devoid of any vegetation in some spots, while up above, I can already see the more troublesome aspects of this journey. We should leave the slope behind us by either tonight or tomorrow morning if we manage to keep our pace steady. Ben has told me that he somehow misses Pueblo already. This strange guy really has grown on us. We've been taking slightly longer rests today to get our bodies acclimated and, well, give them time to heal a bit. This mountain isn't one of the 8Ks, the 25,000-foot ones, but it still seems far more ominous than those we already climbed last year in the Himalayas. Some part of me wants to simply turn around and leave it be, but I'm not sure how Ben would react to it. He'd probably get mad. We've spent so much money and time on it, and I'm sure he wants to get at least a few great pictures from atop this mountain, showing the surrounding area at sunrise. That has always been his thing. Well, can't really complain now, then. We'll pack up our stuff and leave again in a few minutes. Day 3, 16th of July, evening. We made it to the start of the cliffs. Thank fuck for that. The weather shifted during our walk up the slope. I've never seen anything quite like it. At first, the sun was shining, burning down on us, but in the span of maybe 10 minutes, clouds moved in and the wind started picking up. We began running to not get completely soaked, but it was impossible. The rain started less than 5 minutes later, and the wind tore at our clothing and tried to push us to the side. Ben screamed for me to stop, so we huddled down on the slope, pulled out our rain ponchos, and used them as temporary shelters. The downpour was insane, but it only lasted for half an hour. I'm glad it hit us like that, and not while we were climbing up a cliff. It easily could have ended in a catastrophe otherwise. We'll need to keep an eye out for more of those weather changes, and Ben thinks he'll be able to spot the next one. Shit. Maybe we should have asked Pueblo about them, even though I'm not sure if he could have given us a real answer anyway. Well, doesn't matter now. We've made it up here after the downpour, which was hard work, especially since after the rain had stopped, the sun had returned and evaporated all the water in the vicinity, turning this mountain into a fucking oven. I'm still completely drenched, only now I don't know if it's my own sweat or the humidity. Ben isn't faring much better. He's taken off his shoes and socks so as to not get trench foot. he claims, while I've put up my tent. The sun is setting, and even though the area around us is beautiful, we're both not really in the mood for taking pictures. Tonight is going to be rough, and tomorrow we'll be climbing our first cliff. Day 4, 17th of July, noon. We finally made it up the cliff. Something that should have taken us maybe an hour took all morning. Some of the bolts just didn't stick. Ben almost crashed not just once, but 3 times. One of our ropes frayed, and one of my quick draws got stuck, then opened for some reason. We left our bags down at the bottom and climbed up slowly, carefully. It was torture. If we hadn't done something like that dozens, maybe hundreds of times before, we would have either crashed or given up already. Ben was exhausted and angry when we finally reached the top of the cliff, but then we had to pull up our backpacks after us. We both held our tongues the rest of the morning, knowing that we wouldn't be able to take back the words that tried to leave our mouths. I don't think I've ever seen Ben quite like that. He was hissing and groaning as he helped me pull up my backpack, and I think I heard him mumbling a curse right behind my back. Well, what's done is done. We agreed on spending at least half an hour before noon up here, taking a breather and trying to calm down again. There are a whole lot of even steeper and more dangerous cliffs ahead. If it takes us this long every time, we'll be stuck on this mountain for weeks. I just hope none of us snaps under the pressure. This mountain is already straining our relationship. The climb has just begun. We'll have to walk again this afternoon, but I can already see the next cliff face in the distance. With a bit of luck, we should reach it early enough to try another climb. Man, really not looking forward to that one, to be honest. But I'll keep that to myself. Day 4, 17th of July, evening. After this disaster of a morning climb, I expected the evening one to be even worse, but my worries were completely unfounded. We reached the next cliff at around 5 in the afternoon, and we're up on the cliff, which, by the way, is almost twice as high as the last one, at 6:30. This time, everything worked as it should. We even started laughing and joking again, just like we always had done and thought we would on this trip as well. Ben is slowly walking along the cliff now, taking pictures of the surrounding area. We can see the lake where we made camp with Pueblo from here, and I'm honestly thinking about rolling a cigarette in his honor right now. Ben might lose his mind if I start smoking right now, in the middle of what will be a week-long climb, but the tin can our guide gave me still seems to call out to me. I just hope it really brings us luck. We can use every bit of it right now. Day 5, 18th of July, evening. Been climbing all day. My arms and legs are tired, my shoulders hurt, and I have this strange tinnitus in my left ear. But I thought I had to keep this thing here up to date. It was marvelous. Better than expected, and that by a mile. We've cleared the 15,000 foot mark around noon, and I've continued ascending steadily. It's getting colder. The humidity seems to have stayed back down as well. And both Ben and I have decided to get out our thicker jackets. The wind chill up here is nothing to laugh at. At noon, another shower hit us, but this time we were prepared. We managed to seek shelter beneath an outcrop and stayed mostly dry, while Ben took a snapshot of the view. You can't see anything on the photo, to be honest, but that's kind of the charm. It looks like we found a cave behind a waterfall, and the shadows on the wall of our outcrop formed a third person standing next to us. Creepy, I know, but I hope I can use that picture for my profile one day. After the shower, we had another short climb, but then had to start moving sideways. The cliffs up here are smoother, and we've been looking for a way to get up again, but without much luck. Ben told me he thinks we might need to climb horizontally next to get to another spot that's less inhospitable tomorrow. I'm glad he's back to his own self, even though I'm not thrilled about the thought of traversing the sheer cliff to our right. We have enough removable bolts with us to do it safely and securely, and having someone stay back and hold the rope of the person putting in the bolts should be less dangerous as well. At least, that's what Ben thinks. We'll see. With a bit of luck, we'll be safe and sound on the other side of the abyss to our right soon. Wish me luck, Pueblo. Day 6, 19th of July, evening. Shit. Sorry for the blood on the page. It's nothing serious, I promise. We managed to traverse the cliff without much of a problem at first. Ben put in the first few bolts and put through the rope, while I stayed back to give him a bit of safety before we switched. I could feel something pulling at me as soon as I climbed out and fastened both quick draws to it. This isn't a great spot for us, I immediately thought, but kept on holding onto the sheer cliff face and started climbing out farther. There seems to be a strong wind blowing from below, then switching to a draft coming from above at about the midway point. I've never seen anything quite like that as well. I did my best drilling the bolts into the cliff while trying to find spots to put my feet, and I thought I did a good job of it. But after we climbed across, I could see 3 of the bolts coming loose at the slightest of tugs. Ben was incensed. He was screaming at me as if I had made a mistake. Nothing happened, I told him, but he was completely irate. Yeah, I know going back across again might be far more dangerous, but it's not like I made a mistake on purpose. Some of the stone here has to be brittle. I just didn't realize it, okay? Still, we managed to cross over at least. And if worst comes to worst, we'll have to find another way down. Hopefully, our retrievable bolts will last us. Should be fine, right? Shit. It got worse after the horizontal part. We climbed up another cliff, one with a single tear running up its face, where one of the bolts Ben sunk in snapped and hit me in the head. He pulled me up while I was still bleeding, and I really wanted to scream in his face, but kept myself in check. The bolt we've brought might be faulty, or maybe there's something wrong with the ground around here. Whatever the case, I'm sure blaming each other won't solve the problem. Ben has put up his own tent for tonight, so I should be able to sleep in peace as well. Day 7, 19th of July, evening. Fuck my life. That fucking snake, Ben. I woke up this morning at around 9, far later than I had planned, and as I looked out, I saw his tent missing. He must have broken camp early in the morning. I followed his tracks, and he even climbed up the cliffside close by. It's kinda strange. I thought I would catch up to him in a matter of hours, but every time I looked and found another rope leading up, he was already gone. That was until just an hour ago. In the upcoming darkness, I think I caught a glimpse of him atop a cliff. But he wasn't alone. There was a figure next to him. One I think I recognized. No, that's impossible. I didn't dare try and climb up as well. It's already dark, and I needed to put up my tent. But I will catch up to him tomorrow. I'll wake up early and start the climb with the rising sun. He won't escape me for long. Day 8, 20th of July. That fucking snake. I'm shaking. Tried to climb after him, but since he pulled the rope, I had to do so by holding onto the bolts. One of them slipped right out of the rock as I was pulling up my weight, combined with the backpack. I think I didn't even scream as I fell. Thank fuck nothing in the pack had a sharp edge and was pointing at me. Otherwise, I probably would have been impaled. I got back up in a matter of minutes and climbed up again, this time without my supplies. 2 more of the bolts were wobbling as I touched them. I don't know anymore if that's the quality of the material or if Ben did it on purpose. That took nearly everything out of me, by the way. When I finally reached the top of the cliff and pulled myself up, my arms and legs were shaking uncontrollably. What made it worse was that I caught sight of that snake, Ben. Up ahead, already climbing higher, putting in bolts. I screamed his name, and 2 figures turned to look down at me. It was impossible to see their faces clearly, but I know Ben, and the second one was wearing my exact outfit. I screamed again. I could see the one looking like me pointing past Ben and up the steep face as if they had to escape from me. What the fuck is going on here? They turned and continued as if I wasn't lying down there, shaking and screaming. I tried getting back up, but I could hardly stay on my feet at all, much less climb after them. My cries and screams still echoed back from the mountain, but even to me, it sounded more like the wails of some lost spirit. The 2 disappeared above the next cliff, and I had to admit defeat. I can't go on. I need to turn around. Maybe Ben will come after me. Maybe not. But I already managed to get back to my backpack, and although almost everything is damaged in one way or another, I'm sure I can manage to track back. I don't know. My right leg is broken, and my left arm is completely mangled. I tried climbing back to a horizontal line, but didn't manage. The first bolt snapped off in my hand, and I fell down the ravine or abyss or whatever you want to call it. At least I was close enough to the side, so I didn't plunge down completely, but the stones around here don't make for a comfortable landing. Shit. I scraped along the rocky wall until I hit a small outcrop, maybe 30 feet, 10 meters below. My arm took most of the brunt of the impact, and my backpack ripped open, spilling its broken contents everywhere. 1 bottle of water remains, as does this diary and a torn sleeping bag. I don't know how much time I've lost. It's cold up here and I'm shivering. I can hardly see anything right now. My watch is broken. I still have Pueblo's tin box. It's in my jacket. Shit. But Ben will have to come through here. He will see the broken bolt and come down to get me. Please. Day. Uncertain. Woke up with a fever and fresh pain in my chest. My leg has stopped hurting though. I tried rolling myself a cigarette and pretty much failed, but the smoke still helps. It's morning right now, maybe evening. I don't know anymore. At least I'm not alone. He's sitting next to me. Pueblo. Rolling the cigarette has called him, I think. He's been talking to me, telling me not to sleep off again. Man, we shouldn't have let him leave at all, I think. But he didn't want to come here. He told me that himself. This mountain isn't meant for us. It's his home. The one who resides at the top. Pueblo has told me stuff about what happens. I almost dozed off, but he keeps prodding me every time I do. Ben should be at the summit, or close to it already. Together with something that looks like me. I think I want to cry. Pueblo just shook his head. The one next to him will disappear soon, he told me. At the moment when it will be worst for Ben. It's him, playing his tricks on the people who climbed this mountain. I asked him if he was a trick as well, and he smiled softly before rolling me a cigarette. I don't know what's happening here. He's looking over my shoulder at these pages. I'm so scared. This here, it might turn into my final resting place. I don't want to die. Please, Ben. I dozed off for a few hours there. No sign of Pueblo anymore, but he left me a few cigarettes. I'm not sure if I want to smoke one of them again. Having him next to me is soothing, but somehow terrifying as well. I don't know what to believe anymore. My water is almost empty, and I'm kinda hoping for, yet kinda dreading a downpour. Might help with the thirst, won't help with the fever. My arm and leg are numb now. I can hardly lift my head. Smoked one of the cigarettes, and Pueblo has appeared again. He's looking worried. Told me to drink my water. Ben shouldn't be far off now. He's probably already on his way back. Hopefully by himself. Pueblo has told me to calm down and not get agitated. I should probably splint my arm and leg, but I don't even know if I have anything to do that with. Pueblo's rummaging around the spilled contents of the backpack. He's looking worried. He told me to endure, to breathe, to try and relax. I'm so fucking scared. Day 13. 25th of July? Maybe. Ben came by. I wasn't strong enough to call out to him. But Pueblo did. And Ben almost fell down here as well. He was looking pale as he stood atop the cliff. So far out of reach. He asked me why I ran off. And I told him I wasn't with him on the summit. Of course, he didn't believe me. I told him to throw me a rope, and he did, but I can't hold on. I can't even fasten it to any part of me without almost passing out. I'm so tired, so weak. Pueblo stayed hidden all the while. He knew Ben wouldn't react kindly to his presence, but he still told me what to say. So I asked him to come down, but Ben didn't like that idea. The rope might snap, and then we both would be stuck down here on my little outcrop. I cried. I tied a full bottle of water to the end of a rope and lowered it down to me. Of course, I tried grabbing the rope itself to force him to pull me up, but I couldn't even hold on long enough to get to my own knees. He told me to hold on, that he would send someone as soon as he was down at the bottom of the mountain. Fat chance. Pueblo was shaking his head as well. It will take him 2 days to get to the foot of the mountain, and at least another 2 to reach civilization again. I won't make it that long, and I told him that. He just shook his head. It's still better than us both dying. Those were his last words to me. I watched him climb across the chasm, slowly replacing the one hook that had snapped while looking down at me from time to time. I think he caught a glimpse of Pueblo, since he suddenly cried out and sped up. What a coward. I wouldn't have left him here. I would have. Shit. I'm getting tired. So tired. Pueblo tells me that I've done enough. That it's okay now. There will be a bit of pain, but I've already managed to live through the worst of it. His voice is soothing. I just wanted to write this down. Finish the story. I asked Pueblo for a final favor, and he told me anything. If he isn't a hallucination, if he's really real, I want him to take this book and bring it somewhere where it can be found. He nodded and gave me my last cigarette. The smoke is stinging in my eyes. He tells me everything will be okay. I only have to close my eyes now. I can feel it. The fresh breeze. Please.